I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get matched down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at villageXchange@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
To buy our merch! Okay.
Unsigned hype.
This is unsigned hype, you lazy bums.
Yes, this is for the band Murder Death Cult.
Murder Death Cult.
Instagram, SoundCloud, YouTube, all those links are going to be in the description of this video when it goes up on YouTube.
We'll be promoting Murder Death Cult for a couple days. So yeah, we're streaming right now from Facebook because we got banned from YouTube.
Yep.
We got a copyright strike over the weekend. I bought a $30 ticket to a band, which will not be named. They had a live stream, so I live streamed it simultaneously for you beautiful people. They repaid us by getting us a copyright strike, having the video taken down, and
we can't live stream right now.
They suspended our live streaming privileges.
I was feeling like lonesome today for friends. I was like, Vinny, can we please live stream?
Yeah. I said, let's live stream. Let's hang out with the crew.
Yep.
We can't.
We cannot do that.
Facebook,
we can do it this way.
But this is why it's important to be on the village. Facebook.com/Vin and Sori. So there you go. Hello, we got people from Holland. We got people all over the world. And we're about to debut
a brand new song from a brand new band to us.
This is a debut. All right, Renegades, let's go. Murder Death Cult, Outside High, let's go.
We are those renegades, Captain Gorilla scheme. That's right. Burning down your scene. That's right. No one hears you scream. That's right. Assassinate the dream. That's right. Of a wicked king. That's right. Break the right wing. That's right. The rules so obscene. That's right. We are those renegades. We are those renegades. We are those renegades. Don't need your way. That's right. Open the barricades and free all the slaves. We are those renegades. I got the rainbow team. That's right. Amazons and queens. That's right. Boots and green. That's right. Ain't scared of the cream. That's right. Free by any means. That's right. Fast and stream killers. That's right. You can't get no iller. That's right. We are those renegades. We are those renegades. We are those renegades. Your God ain't great. That's right. Gorillas at the gates. That's right. Smack down your master race. That's right. Put you in your place. That's right. You're selling all the hate. That's right. They'll build your fake state. Hold the back of our face. We are those renegades. We are those renegades.
almost there. Actually, to be honest with you, the first 30 seconds of the song, I'm like, oh man, this is not going to be good because the production was kind of amateurish. But I actually thought the song recovered very well, and that he was actually saying something really cool, and I really like the solo. I mean, this guy's style is really unique because he's combining punk with rap and metal. So it definitely felt like a punk song. Like the cadence was very punky, and he had I thought he did a really, really, really good job at that. And the video itself was pretty cool because currently I'm watching infographics.
He's obsessed with these.
Infographics are these cartoons, but they're talking about real stuff. So they're talking about World War II or whatever, but they do it in cartoon form, and I love it. And it was kind of like watching an infographics thing.
Yep.
It was taking he's talking about guerrilla warfare, and basically that's the sort of fighting style of the underdog generally. You know, when powerful people do it, it's called asymmetrical warfare. But, you know, originally it was, you know, really one of the first real deep case studies on guerrilla or asymmetric warfare was actually the intertestamental stuff with the Maccabean revolt. So the Maccabean revolt, he was going up against Antiochus, and they were obviously outnumbered and outgunned, and so they started using guerrilla warfare because they knew the land better than their opposers did. And they used guerrilla warfare to get their freedom. And guerrilla warfare is extremely effective against large militaries because it's usually they're an occupying force. They don't know the land as well, and so the indigenous people of the land know the land better, and so they're able to go in and out, sabotage all those types of things, and just bleed conventional forces right out, and then blend right back in with the populace. So, and then, you know, obviously in Vietnam they were famous for, you know, the tunnel rats. You know, they had these underground complexes of tunnels. One for escape and evasion, but also to, you know, for sabotage moves and things like that. And you had to go into the tunnel, like if you were like the worst job of all time. I would hate to be an American soldier, you know, whatever. And, you know, they outlasted us, and so they won Vietnam. And so, like, that's kind of the template for, you know, I forgot who it was, but it's like the AK-47 is the weapon of freedom, you know, because it's so cheap and replicatable and generally dependable, and that is the weapon of, you know, renegade soldiers. So that seems to be the backdrop. We are those renegades hatching guerrilla schemes, burning down your scene. No one hears the screams, assassinate the dreams of our world, of our would-be kings, break the right wing of a rule so obscene. So it's really cool. In rap, you have accentuation, right? Where you accent things so that they rhyme, even though they're not necessarily rhyming. And of course, that's a play on words. You know, no one hears the screams, assassinate the dreams of our would-be kings. Get it? You know, Martin Luther King, I have a dream, right?
Oh.
So assassinate the dreams of our would-be kings.
Oh my gosh. I thought it was like the American dream and like going after the leaders. That's what I thought it meant.
Well, that's still in play, right? Assassinate our dreams. Because what Martin Luther King was fighting for was for us to be able to have our opportunity to have the American dream. That's the entire point of the civil rights movement, was let us have the American dream, right? Without putting all these things in our way. So that still works. But it's smart lyric writing because he's using accentuation and he's using double, maybe a triple entendre there. Break the right wing of a rule so obscene. So it seems to me that this brother believes that the
Republicans are the problem.
The right wing is the problem.
What are you looking at right now?
I'm looking at where he says the credits. Masa, my Mihojin, nigga homie, fire guitar solo. Doctor Who, my white nigga homie, mixing in moral support. Were once plain old black gangsta nigga. All other instruments. Da 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 da. Bonus brownie points for anyone who can identify the blatant Bad Brains, Co-Mags, and Meshuggah ripoff. So I definitely see the Bad Brains. So Bad Brains was a punk band, and I'm pretty sure he's a black dude in the band. I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Bad Brains was that. So okay, so that makes sense. We are those renegades. We are those renegades. Don't need Yahweh to overrun the barricades and free all the slaves. Yeah, you do.
It's the only way, literally.
Now, of course, you don't need Yahweh to be a slave and be like, man, this sucks. I want to get out of here. You don't need God for that. But you do need God to say, there's a reason that why shouldn't human beings be slaves in the first place? That's the question.
Right.
If you say that human beings should not be slaves, you're making you're making a bunch of assertions in that one assertion. What you're saying is there's something about human beings that's valuable, and there's something about human beings that makes us all equally valuable. And so it's wrong to devalue a human and reduce them to cattle, which means that you don't believe that we're just animals. I mean, there's a lot of things that that goes into that statement that you 100%. Absolutely need God to validate.
Yeah.
Because if there is no God to validate your internal or your intrinsic value, then on what basis can you say,
right, if we're all just animals?
Yeah, it's you know, it's just some animals have figured out how to make oxen work for them.
Yeah.
And if some Homo sapiens figure out how to treat other Homo sapiens like oxen, on what basis are you saying that that's wrong? That's assuming that it's wrong to treat human beings like oxen. So, I mean, on the one hand, you don't need Yahweh, but on the other hand, you do need. I'll say this: you cannot sustain freedom in any sort of sustainable way without that theological underpinning. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can win your freedom in a slave revolt, but how you make it, like, you know, Spartacus is a perfect example. He's a guy, you know, slave revolts, whatever. And then once he got his freedom, he started having slaves. Right? So what is the principle other than I hate how slavery makes me feel? Right? Like you have to come up with some other reason for the next generation and a generation after them not to have slaves. So I actually do think Yahweh is important there. But I see where he's coming from as far as saying from a human perspective.
Right. We need a root strength. We're going to overcome these barricades. And
right.
It doesn't, yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Well, especially when you look at the history of like the Christian church and how some of our major founding fathers of the Christian faith participated in slavery.
Yeah.
So when you know that information, it's like, well, I can see why you would say we don't need Yahweh for this.
Right. No. Oh,
because they would, you know, specifically target certain pastors that could influence the black community to stay slaves.
Right.
Like they would kind of put up a black pastor that would speak the language of what the white people wanted the black people to know. Yeah.
And, you know, that came out of slavery times, too. You had Margaret Sanger saying, we don't want people to go around saying that we're going to eliminate the Negroes. So the Negro pastor, the minister, the Negro minister was the perfect person to do that, to calm down their more rebellious members. You know, Planned Parenthood recently came out and said that Margaret Sanger was a racist.
They had no choice.
Yeah, I almost did a Middle America episode on it.
I
told you so! But I didn't do it. I didn't spike the football. We are those renegades. I got the Rainbow Team, Amazons and Queens, Fuji's in the Greens. This guy can rap, bro. Ain't scared of your cream. Free by any means. Fascist dream killers. You can't get no iller. Okay, so that's just straight up like New York style. And I got the Rainbow Team, which is really, really important. You know, Jesse Jackson had the Rainbow Coalition.
Yep.
I'm trying to do something locally right now that's designed to really benefit my folks, but people have a kind of. I was talking to one of my guys, and it's like we're trying to create a coalition of far right, almost libertarians, far left, almost Jimmy Dore type people, and have an entire coalition, because that would our chances of being successful in what we're trying to accomplish
increase exponentially if you group together.
Correct.
And especially because their community has been so good at like making their, like, they are such a small percentage of the population compared to, so they make up what, 3% of the population?
Who?
Are we talking, when you said the rainbow
LGBT?
Community? Yeah.
The
Rainbow
Rainbow Coalition. That was Jesse Jackson when he was running for president in the 80s. It wasn't an LGBT thing. It was Democrats, Republicans, black, white, Puerto Rican, Spanish people, gay people. Basically, the idea was everybody is doing this, because Jesse Jackson was going to be the
For
first.
what purpose?
He was going to be the first black president, and so he was saying, no, it's going to be a rainbow coalition, because he understood, that was like the subliminal, like, back and forth. Like, I'm not going to be the black president. I'm going to be the rainbow president. I'm for everybody, that type of thing. So what he's talking about here is that we've got a lot of people on the team. Now, if he is saying, that he's got a lot of people on the left, and it's only the right wing of the bird that's oppressive, then obviously I would disagree with him. The president we currently have in office right now is obviously not for my folks. So this idea that all the racists are on the right and everybody on the left are these nice, wonderful, open-minded people that are not racist themselves is naive.
Right.
I'll say it that way.
Exactly.
Now, I'm not saying that he's saying that. I'm saying from the lyrics, that's the only thing that we have for now. You know what I'm saying? And Ain't Scared of Your Cream, which for the uninitiated, C.R.E.A.M, is a Wu-Tang song called Cream, and it means cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money, dollar bill. Yeah, see, Sori didn't even know.
Oh, okay. I just thought like cream was white, and so I'm not like afraid of. I thought that's where he was going.
Remember, Biggie says, "I'm gonna tell you like a nigga told me.
Yeah.
Cash rules everything around me."
Yeah,
that's Cream.
I see now.
Giving Shorty some hip hop education. We are those renegades. Your God ain't great.
Gorillas at the gate, smack down your master race, put you in your place. When I hit this part, it reminded me of like where like those people were telling that like white lady to lick their boot or kiss their boot or something like that.
Black Israel Edge.
Yeah.
Shout out to Deacon Haka. What's up, homie?
Put you in your place for selling all the hate to build your fake state on the backs of our fate. We move in the shadows. That's.
Well, your God ain't great seems to be a diss at the Muslims.
Oh.
Because when they say Allahu Akbar, what they're saying is Allah is the greatest.
Yeah.
So he's saying your God ain't great.
Yeah.
That seems to be a shot at the Muslims. So he went after the Christians of Yahweh.
Right.
Then he went after the Muslims, which is really interesting because if you think about the black struggle in America, it's been largely religious.
Yeah.
Right? You had Dr. King.
Yeah.
Who represent the Christian side, supposedly, and then you had Malcolm, who represented the Muslim side. So the vast majority is Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, all those guys were a part of the church, like were ministers in the church. So it's a very interesting song because I mean the guy is obviously about black liberation, the liberation of his people over here in America, yada yada yada. But he's dissing the two main institutions that brought us our greatest civil rights leaders, that brought us the greatest results. The fact of the matter is that it's Christians who were really, mostly white Christians who were, leading the charge for abolition and things of that nature. And Martin Luther King would not have been able to do what he did without white allies.
Right.
And those white allies many times came from the church. So I'm not particularly certain. Maybe he's saying, look, the next great, batch of leaders is not going to come from the church for our community. And that may or may not be true, but it seems to me that black folks are still very deeply religious.
Yeah.
Like culturally religious. I'm not even necessarily saying that black folks are like genuinely Christians or genuinely Muslims, but our culture, like black culture has not embraced like the modern neo-atheist stuff. Like our culture is still very much extremely religious.
Yeah.
And even as recently as DMX's funeral, you know, there was just so much, you know, religious undertones and overtones to the funeral, which of course that happens in every funeral most of the time. So I
wasn't sure too.
maybe he's saying that you know, the next one has to be not religious.
Yeah, like if he was looking at it like, okay, the Christians have been around, they haven't been able to stop this. The Muslims have been around, they haven't been able to stop this. And you know, it has seemed like the pattern has been that there's no actual change until like people start feeling threatened by, like he's saying, okay, the guerrillas, that's the next thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it does seem like that is what, you know, when you really sit down and you look at the facts, it looks like the only reason that, you know, Martin Luther got a hearing is because of the work that Malcolm was doing, and people didn't want to see what Malcolm was doing, and they didn't want that type of energy in their neighborhoods and in their communities, and so it was better just to listen to Martin. And you know, because they don't a lot of the stuff that Martin said, like they pick and choose what they're going to put in a little quote form and put his face behind and post that up on Facebook. Like there's like a lot of stuff that he said that people are not cool with, and then you never see those things, and it makes it look like he was completely one way. But maybe that's what he's saying. Maybe he's saying like, look, we've tried everything and you're not, you know, there's obviously still racism happening almost every other day. There's another shooting that we're hearing about that was ridiculous and unjust and just, you know, I thought the way that they were saying on the one you were watching today, they said it took about 20 seconds before the execution. And I thought that was a sickening and yet appropriate word for I didn't see that particular situation, but a lot of times that's what it's amounting to. They're just making these decisions and doing these executions, and so maybe he's feeling like there's not going to be any stopping it. Of course, we're Christians, and so we have a different mindset about it, and that's that violence breeds more violence, which breeds more violence, and you know there have been lots of riots and different things, and like there is change that needs to happen, but if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So that's not the direction that we would take. But I completely see where, you know, where somebody would come from to just be like, okay, you know. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Like I said, I think, you know, blaming left or right, like trying to lay all of racism on the left or the right, to me is a little bit oversimplistic.
Yeah.
I think Hawk Newsom, he said, I am not going to condemn the rioters or condone the rioters. And that's where I'm at. When you're in a country that was founded on people being dissatisfied with their government, taking up arms and then using those arms against government officials, that's how the country started. You cannot then come back and say violence solves nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't do that because every 4th of July you're celebrating violence,
right?
From the citizenry to the government, in order to get what you want. So you can't say that. Now, as a Christian, what I can say is violence is not a God-ordained means of getting freedom for God's people since the coming of Christ. So I could say, from that perspective, I could say violence for Christians is inappropriate. But I cannot say that for a secular American person.
Right.
I can't say that.
Right.
When the country was built on that kind of a violence.
Right.
So. And
you know that's in our blood. That's why so many people are getting upset about the masks and like taking it to the levels that people have been taking it to.
Well, yeah. I mean, Americans. Like, yeah. And you know, like.
You showed it. What's it like a true color?
Yeah. So for me, it's like, you know, there's always the good cop, bad cop angle. And, you know, ironically enough, and, you know, I think it's our job as Christians to always be the good cop and say, hey, you probably should listen to us before these any means necessary people with the Kalashnikovs come marching down Main Street in your little suburban little thingamajiggy there, because you have more to lose. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
So listen to Murder Death Cult.
It's a strong, solid 7 for me.
Oh, that's interesting. I was gonna give it a 6.9. So I will throw in with you for a 7.
I like the punk stuff. I like the rapping.
I like as it sounded at the end.
I like the video as well. I like the cartoon. The car. I'm gonna give it an 8 because of the
graphics.
Yeah, because of what he did with the video. He's got to get some credit.
I actually didn't see the video because I was watching the lyrics over here.
Yeah, we were looking at the lyrics, but he's got to get some credit for that video, bro. You have to. You have to give him some credit for that. Okay, good song. If you, dear listener, would like your song reviewed on On-Site Hype, reach out to the homie, VinandSori@gmail.com.
Or jump on Patreon. You'll find the tier there.
There you are, dear listener. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.